What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the GGBL. Gonna do this kind of live format. I'm not really gonna highly edit this video, but just as a off-season preview about everything to expect going forward here into this season's off-season. Say that 5 times fast. We're gonna talk about every team's exclusive free agents, and I do have a little update for you guys because I have now moved the players, the custom players that have elected free agency, meaning they're no longer signing with their original team. They wanted to test free agency. I did a couple wheel spins on those guys, and I have them here listed on their exclusive free agent teams. Those teams have now offered them a contract. Basically, all you got to do is you just got to use the CPU roster control and then player movement. And then you basically swap out the guy that's leaving for some CPU player that's like a D potential and very lowly rated. So basically, it doesn't really matter. Anyway, so let's get into it, guys. So how does this offseason going to work? Well, going into Season 5, it's going to be a full-on simulated season. So basically, we're just trying to move through this offseason here pretty quickly. Don't have really any hang-ups. Things like reviewing staff. Of course, I've got all these offers here for their former managers. I had to actually go ahead and look way back at the last couple of videos that I've made for my own research on what managers that each team has had. Like for Pittsburgh, they had this guy Julio Hoff. So this is all back in my own data, so you guys don't have to worry about that. I'm gonna get and make sure that all the coaches that they used to have outside of all the positional coaches and farm directors and all that, those will probably be a little bit different, but making sure that the managers are the same. That's kind of my big thing here. So how's the free agency gonna work? Well, let's use Washington as an example real quick. They had a player, JJ Cabrera, who was a exclusive free agent. Well, his deal is that he's a custom player. So I have to go ahead and contact the custom player's owner or the viewer and say, hey, do you want to be a free agent or do you want to re-sign with Washington? Well, he has elected to test free agency, and he gave me a list of top 5 teams he would consider. Did a wheel spin, randomized wheel spin, and I'm happy to report that he is now a member of the Miami Moonshots. And there he is, JJ Cabrera. Again, played all those seasons in Washington. He's now had a little bit of a slumping season as far as the average goes. He had a really good year last year for Washington, 292. That's a big piece for Washington to lose. And you could really make a storyline out of this, that maybe the young JJ Cabrera kind of coming into his own. He saw that Miami had lost Timothy Pierce to San Francisco, and now immediately he's going to pop in here and be a big bat for this squad here. Already at first base is where he's going to be. So JJ Cabrera, big bat for the Moonshots, replacing Timothy Pierce, again, a guy that they lost last season to the San Francisco Grizzlies. That's a big one. So now that we're here at Miami, they've got some players here that are perfect examples. So a guy like Mac Perez, he is not a custom player, and neither is Ricky Herring. So anybody above 85 overall, I just went ahead and re-signed them through exclusive free agents. Anyone 85 and below, which is 84, starting at 84, we're going to put these guys into free agency. So a perfect example would be Salvador Pineda. And if we skip over here to another little spoiler, Gunnar Skarsgård is a custom pitcher. He is now signing with Richmond. So he had us up on the 5-team wheel spin, and we landed on him. So perfect. But Navarre, a guy that's been a part of the Richmond Good Boys bullpen for quite some time. He had some good years. He had some bad years. He's an 85 and below, non-custom player. Cristobal Reyes, non-custom player. Those two guys are going to elect free agency, meaning that the Good Boys don't want him to come back. And it's kind of a good idea, too, because Reyes is kind of on his way out, right? He's a 38-year-old player, starting to hit some regression. And it's also a perfect storyline for Jose Navarre because, well, he's starting to see regression. And outside of getting all these saves, almost a 55 save guy, and he's pretty good in sim, but in gameplay, when it matters in the Gold Series, this guy can't get it done. So we don't want that anymore. We're done with that. See you later. Bye-bye. Go find another job elsewhere. So just a couple examples there of how free agency is going to work. And then once we head into free agency, so after this entire phase is done, we're going to turn on auto free agency. So everybody that's now listed in free agency is going to be done by the CPU. So it's chaotic. It's a little bit random. It kind of shakes up the league a little bit. It's perfect. I love it. Plus, it just skips through some key moments of the offseason so we can get through this very, very quickly. So now what we're going to do, guys, is I'm going to get back here to Washington, and let's talk about each team by team. So it's going to be kind of a longer video here, which is cool because I like giving you guys all the context here. And again, doing this live, now I don't have to edit and splice things up. You're just listening to this as I go about it. So here's a perfect example, right? You got Charlie Ward and Mike Price. Both these guys are custom players. They wanted to come back, so that's easy. That's perfect situation. Anybody below 85 for Boston, they're losing Mitch Toney, Paul Littleton, Claudio De Jesus, Dave Wise, and Todd Lamb. So a lot of pitching that Boston is losing. Maybe they can get him back once free agency starts up again. Avante Duckworth, here's a big reveal. He did not want to sign or re-sign with Pittsburgh. So it's kind of funny, right? He started in Wisconsin, got agitated there. He lost his second base job because he made so many errors. Got shipped out to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh and Wisconsin were battling for wild card positioning. Neither team made it. Duckworth plays one more season in Pittsburgh, and then he says, I'm gone, I want out again. So he's kind of a selfish player, it's seeming like, and he ends up going over here to New York. They feel like they can use him at second. They do have a hole at second base. You can see there with Luther Beavers and Wiedenbaker still not quite ready to take that job over completely. So it's a good bat to get. Freddie Foley, Bird, those guys are not customs, but they're 85 and up. So I think you guys are starting to see the pattern here. They're coming back as well. So some really big pieces there for New York coming back and acquiring. Now for Pittsburgh, in the Discord, you guys might have seen that the Richmond Good Boys traded Connor Altman away. So he is from Pennsylvania, and over the years, Altman's been a pretty solid player, but he has been kind of an on and off player. He's been very, very inconsistent, and in the postseason, it's kind of been the same deal. He's been very on and he's been very off in some key moments. So Richmond got rid of him. I'll show you who they traded for in just a moment. So we'll go back to Richmond and I'll show you kind of what that setup is like. But for Denzel Good IV, he's a custom guy that I have not heard from quite yet. So in the next couple of days here, I really need to, actually today, because tomorrow is the full off-season video. So today I need to hear from Rashad Bolden. I need to hear from you, my guy. Does Denzel Good IV want to stay in Pittsburgh, or is he gone? And if he is, what 5 teams is he interested in? Here's another big one. John Choi. This is my guy, by the way. He did not want to re-sign with Columbus. So Columbus gets a big hit onto them with John Choi's departure. Columbus, Richmond, New York were some of the top 5 teams that he wanted to join up with. Wheel spin, he lands over here for Michigan. And if you guys need me to share with you those wheel spins, I'll post them there in the Discord, so that way you have proof that this is what has happened. But I think for the most part you guys believe me and maybe don't care. But John Choi, now a member of the Michigan Mallards, and it just adds to their pitching staff. You got Bloodworth, Choi, Hawkins, Mitchell, Donald. It's just loaded. They're gunning for this. And this is a team with Luigi Mazza, Dom Taylor, Dalton Jett, Alex Humberto, right? And they've already added Bloodworth last year. Hawkins just won the Best Pitcher Award, winning like 20 some odd games. So Choi sees this and he's like, you know what? I want to be the exclusive two-way player here for one team. I don't want to be sharing my two-way status with another guy like Janil Rivera over there in Columbus. So he is now signed up to Michigan. Dom Taylor's coming back. And then you got some bullpen guys here, depth pieces that are going to free agency for the Michigan Mallards. Now for Chicago, they are just, man, they are reeling right now. And they just seem to be one of those teams. It's going to get really bad before it gets better. You know, that's just the way it's feeling for Chicago. They're losing a lot of good pieces here to free agency. Heath Calvert, that's one that's going to be kind of a painful loss there at catcher. So he's gone. Plus, another big bat, Trey Mashburn, has wanted out as well. And I'll show you guys where he ended up here as we slow scroll. So Trey Mashburn is now gone. He is elected free agency. He was an exclusive FA, and now he's moving out to somewhere else. Now here's a big one here for Columbus. Frankie Bowen wants back. Will Till wants back. Elrod Grayson was an exclusive free agent for Boston. Top 5 teams listed up. Columbus was one of them, so he signs out here. And so does Xavier Hawkins from the Iowa Reapers. So Xavier Hawkins wanted out as well. Had some good seasons there for the Iowa Reapers, but he's kind of seeing the writing on the wall there for that organization as well and wanted out. You know, he's 27 years old. He's been around for quite a while. So he's kind of seeing the writing on the wall for his own, for the team, for Iowa, but his own prospects as a player in the league. Like, how long does he have for really good baseball? He wants to contribute to a winner. He wants to take control of his own destiny and try to win a big one here, and that's why he had Columbus up there on his list. So where do I think he's going to play? Well, you got Lonnie McQueen's in 86, and you got Xavier Hawkins, right? So Hawkins seems more like he's going to be playing in the outfield by the looks of it there. You got Mario Mazza at second base, and I think that's just really where he's going to find a home there. So now we switch over to Iowa. We just talked about what they lost with Xavier Hawkins. They are going to bring back Alonzo Jacobs. That's a good piece to get, since they had already lost Killian Graham a season ago to the Boston Revolution. So he's got 32 saves, but that ERA was god-awful. Oh my God. I don't know how you have that habit, but through 46 games, you got that ERA as a closer. That is terrible. So they wanted him back for 3 more seasons. I guess this is just the way things are going for Iowa, man. They're struggling. But Andino's going to be a big free agent, especially with that 99 contact against lefties. That's a big one. And plus, even in gameplay, his defensive numbers don't seem like much, but he is darn good defensively. He's always making some sort of diving play. It's kind of cool to see that. But then you got Geraldo Trujillo. He's actually had some good seasons. He's going to be a big piece for a bullpen addition for someone. But I love it because now we're going to start to see some shifting across the league and some parity, a little bit more parity across the league, depending on how free agency goes. But for Wisconsin, they're going to lose Pacheco and Carmine Feliz, which is the 27-year-old player. He was actually playing in we started here in 2023. So he's only been with Wisconsin, and he's been a solid little player too. He might be a bench guy for some teams. Maybe if they really have a hole at third base, he could be the starter, but that's kind of what looks like they're losing there. So nothing too much for Wisconsin, but it's enough to where it's going to be probably impactful in other ways. But another big reveal here, Jack Riddle is no longer with the St. Louis Maroons. He's had kind of a struggle busing career. He holds a career ERA of 5.33. It's getting better. Every year it's getting just a little bit better. He's never been a winning pitcher. He's only been a 500 guy and a losing pitcher throughout his career. But now coming over to a different scene, he doesn't want to be a part of the St. Louis Maroons pitching staff any longer. Coming over to another losing team. I guess you can't really say that St. Louis is a losing team. They've made the playoffs quite a bit, but you know what I mean. He's got all the losses. He's a losing pitcher, and now he's going to go over to a losing team. So I guess wins and losses don't matter to Jack Riddle. And in fact, he was quoted as saying he didn't want to be a part of the pitching staff restructure there in St. Louis, and I'll just show you exactly what he's talking about here. Because if you head over to St. Louis's staff, they're already really good, right? You just look at what they've got here. You got Randy Lorenz, who could compete for a job. You've got Rivera, Chavez, Paniagua, Huerta, Finney. I mean, it's crazy, right? It's crazy how many guys that they have in here that could start. So Riddle, looking at this, he just did not want to be a part of that shuffle, that competition, if you will. He wanted to be coming a part of a team that he knew he was going to be a guy in that starting five. And he knows, looking at Minnesota, he could do exactly that. I mean, he's the ace right now. So hopefully Riddle gets it figured out. His career takes a change for the better. But Minnesota's also going to be losing Brian Ortiz and Rich Lugo, so some pitchers. Percy Burnside, custom player, he will come back to San Antonio. Then you got Walter Ford, who is a 34-year-old pitcher as an 82. He'll get some offers for sure. So will Terry Goff. But Goff has been a big piece for this bullpen for the Bandits here. And losing a guy like this, the save totals have gone down just a little bit. ERA has actually been pretty consistent. So he's a good closer, good reliever. But again, he'll fetch out some offers. So nothing really big as far as losses go for San Antonio. If anything, getting Percy Burnside back was huge, because anytime you get these custom guys, they want to test free agents and go elsewhere. You're always kind of playing the game. The team's playing the game. Oh, do you want to come back or do you not? Yeah, so good for San Antonio. But the defending champs, the Cyclones, they're going to bring back Berger and Karev, which you kind of assume that they would. They'll try to run it back into next season. And then we look at the Las Vegas Nuggets. They're going to bring back all of their custom guys here: Thacker, James Chris, De La Cruz. So that's nice to see. But they will be losing Clemente, Morris, Darren Dyer's been pretty solid, and then D'Angelo Waters. So that's a pretty decent haul that the Nuggets are going to lose. Plus, they also lost Joe Cheltenham. They lost their ace. So now Clement was supposed... It could be Clement or Clemente. I'm going to say Clement. I know I said it the other way earlier, but we're going to go with Clement. Avery Clement is their ace currently, and he's now gone because of the 85 and lower rule. Or under 85, I should say, because 85 and up, yeah, James Chris has come back. 85 and lower than 85. God, can't get that right. But Clement is gone. Nuts, right? So now their ace is Rene Valdez or Justin Morris, depending on progression and regression. So yeah, that pitching staff is hurting. They're going to need to sign somebody up big time in FAs, because that's not good. Another big loss for the Colorado Coyotes. Josh Adams is not up here any longer. So where did he go? We'll have to find that out in a minute. But Julian Lorenz, veteran player, 31 years old, a solid little player too. Very good defensively. He can run as well. Very durable. He can hit just a little bit. He's got some power in there too. But he kind of lost a little playing time after the first two seasons, because this is kind of what his production looked like, right? 237, 232. And with Emile Dufour-Laponte, the custom player, and Josh Adams kind of taking playing time away from Lorenz, and even Neptune St. Clair playing third, this kind of hurt his production. So he was thinking about heading out elsewhere, but now losing Josh Adams, Julian Lorenz has a new job opened up for him. You can see right there. So there's your infield, what that's looking like. So Lorenz probably going to shift over to second, or even Dufour-Laponte could do that as well. They both can play second. Now looking at the Phoenix Firebirds, you got Michael Ruth is coming back. They will lose Willie Lamar, so nothing really big for Phoenix, and nothing really big here for Atlanta as they lose Ken Porter. And then we just looked at Miami here by getting back Mac Perez, Ricky Herring, and acquiring JJ Cabrera through free agency. Salvatore Pineda, this is definitely a guy that I think that Vegas should go after. I know that the ERA was a little high last year, but if they're not going to be getting a lot of starting pitchers, a lot of solid quality starting pitchers, they definitely need to build up that bullpen. And I think Pineda is definitely a guy that they should go after. But nothing really big as far as losses go for Miami other than Pineda. And then, of course, with Ricky Hoberman, they signed him up to one more season. He is coming back. There were some rumors that he would retire, but he is going to come back for his age 36 season. He's going to come off of the NL MVP win. And hopefully Richmond can get it together, get their act together this season. They're gonna need to do it, man. Four straight Gold Series and you lose all 4. That's unheard of. But Gunnar Skarsgård leaving Vancouver, one of the best closers, except last year was a little bit of an anomaly. A 6.04 ERA, only 18 strikeouts. Not sure what really happened here with Gunnar Skarsgård. Only had 22 innings pitched. He just wasn't used at all. Like 22 innings, he definitely wanted out. He was not treated the right way. 22 innings, guys. I mean, that's abysmal. As one of the best closers, that's crazy. So he finds a new home. Josh Adams, we just talked about him with Colorado. He ends up with Orlando. And that's a really good get for the Sun Sox because they also lost another custom player in Rubio Moya. We'll talk about him in just a moment, but you can see what they're working with here now with their infield. They've got William Koo, who's 25, so he's still a little bit younger than Adams, but he really wasn't taking the next step. So it's a good thing that they addressed second base and getting a player like Josh Adams looking for a payday, looking for not really any playing time, but looking to be a reason, a main factor why a team's going to have success rather than kind of be hiding behind Satchel Michaels or Neptune St. Clair, you know, these players like that on Colorado. Now he can kind of make a name for himself with the Orlando Sun Sox. So that's pretty cool. Now the reveal, Joe Cheltenham goes back, quote unquote, back to Carolina. In fact, in GGBL 21, over on my main channel, this is where he was before. This is the team that he was on before. He is born in North Carolina, so he does come back. If you want to go with canon, he was born in North Carolina here. He's from there. He goes there. But if you want to go with GGBL 21 canon, he comes back. But he's been a good pitcher. Didn't have a lot of successful seasons out there with Las Vegas. He had 1 year where he was a winning pitcher. 2 years, actually. 15-4 was his best season. Had the most strikeouts. Had the best ERA. It's a good pitcher. That will definitely help out Carolina. They've also got Luke Nettles in the mix. Bruce Don, Ben Olivo. So they're going to give Richmond a run for their money now, I think, in that NL East. And I think it's just getting more and more competitive with Orlando getting better, with Carolina getting better. Now you got 3 teams in there, and within that division, they're going to be competing for it rather than just Richmond every single season. So that'll shake some things up. Now over to Kansas City, you've got Jack Melton coming back. Daniel Lederman's coming back as well. And then not a lot of loss there with the Monarchs, with the relief pitcher and the first baseman. Looking over at Nashville, you've got Eddie Pedroza. He's going to be testing free agency. He's older. He's 36 years old, but got a huge boost from performance in the power against left-handers category there. Had 18 home runs. He's been a good player. Been a very solid player the last 4 seasons. So anybody that gets him, be a fine addition. I don't know if he's going to be game-breaking, but yeah, Nashville loses a little piece there. Now for Houston, there is a Rubio Moya. So Moya's concern with his playing time out there, actually not even playing time, but just usage. His usage over there in Orlando, he played in 155 games, but he was all over the place. He's primarily a catcher. He was being shifted over to first. He was shifting over to third. He's playing at 3 different positions and rotating that every so often with Enrico Palazzo and with Silveratus Barreto. So those 2 guys, those 3 guys actually, they can all catch. And they could all play first. And they could all play third. So there was never really one guy that took the job to say, I'm the catcher. I'm the first baseman. You know, so Moya didn't want anything else to do with that. These guys, they needed a catcher pretty badly. Bruno Esquivel is an 83. And Moya comes in at a 91 overall. And he's pretty darn good. You can see the fielding at 99. The reaction at a 93. The arms needs a little bit of work. But the hitting numbers for a catcher, pretty solid, and I think Houston got a lot better. Jay Kinney's coming back too with a huge contract, $280 million for 8 seasons. They're breaking the bank on Jay Kinney. I think they just like his speed, his defense, his hitting. I think he's just a really, really good player. He might be on the come up to be one of those MVP type of seasons. He's going to have to work on the power numbers, I think. But yeah, I think Jay Kinney in his age 27, maybe, he's on the verge of like really breaking out and being something. But big loss there, Andrew Doby. That is crazy, right? So he's now upwards of 26, right? He's 27 years old. Had some good seasons, a big power hitter here, 100 RBI seasons, and now he's gone from that mix. Again, they might just shift. They might shift Moya over to first base. He might never get rid of that because they are losing Bobby Gardner here too. So this is a development, guys. Diego Lopez, is he ready to take that job? Russell Richmond, right? Because they're going to need a first baseman. Maybe they have to go to free agency to fix that up, or do they stick with Moya? A lot of question marks there for Houston. For New Orleans, they might be the team best positioned for exclusive free agents because they're only losing one guy, and it's Vinny Stroud, and he's no loss really. So New Orleans didn't really get hit that badly. But you look at the St. Louis Maroons, they're bringing everybody back. Custom player there for Paxton Dallas, but everyone else CPU'd. Finney, Huerta, Jack Chavez, so they're running it back with their cast and crew. But they do lose Tyson Cobb. Tyson Cobb, I haven't heard from him either. And I think that I'm not going to by the end of the night. So Tyson Cobb will be a free agent, and I don't really know where he's going to go. I might have to just look on my own at teams that absolutely need a first baseman and come up with the list on my own. Or I could just always just bring him back. I could bring him back. But, you know, they are losing some money here, guys. They've got $63 million available. But this is only if Tyson Cobb signs. Because then you got Chavez that's going to get a big deal. You got Huerta, Dallas, and Finney. All these guys, they're going to ask for a ton of money. You can see the pending offers up there, $77 million. And then the budget's at 79. So I don't even think if they sign everybody, they could even afford Tyson Cobb anyway. So just to make it interesting, I think I'm going to spin the wheel for Tyson Cobb and put him, put teams that need a first baseman on the list for Cobb. They're needing pretty badly. Same thing with Charles Hemingway. I have not heard from him. I think I just might bring him back anyway. That's a huge loss for Seattle, and I kind of don't want to screw them. They've got the money to do it as well, so I think I'll just offer up a contract there. So I did talk about Atlanta, but no, Nashville, sorry. William Murphy was in Atlanta in GGBL 21, but for Nashville, William Murphy is now gone. So he tested free agency. We will spun him, and he's going to Seattle. So his quote was, "I want to play for the best teams in the GGBL. Give me the top 5 best teams. I don't care who they are. I just want to play for the best." So I looked at the last season standings, and it also included the most consistent franchises in this league: Richmond, Seattle, St. Louis, those type of teams. And then he ended up selecting Seattle. So they get a big addition here. So now they've got Murphy in the outfield, Goro Kobayashi, and Joshua Tora in the outfield. That's a big addition there. Solid player for William Murphy. And again, for Hemingway, I think I'll just bring him back. A loss of Danny Marmot and Brent Miller. Brent Miller was very consistent for this team, hitting 307, 290s. Had a down season with the average, but the home run totals went up. The power numbers went up too, right? So that's kind of crazy looking at what he's decked out with here with his attributes. 83 contact, everything else is in the 50s. Brent Miller was a very solid player, but he's wanting out of Seattle by the looks of it here. Now you got Buddy Kidd. He is coming back, custom player. I also have not heard from Peanuts McLovin, so I have no idea what he wants to do either. And there have been some reports that Marcus Trumblin, who is a catcher for Vancouver, he might actually shift to playing second base, which he can do that. That's his secondary position. So there's an option there. Now, what they're going to do with catcher, I believe they have a backup plan here for their catcher. It's not going to be Cristobal Luis. I think that they had another plan that I posted in the Discord, but I don't quite remember what that was. But there was... Oh, you know what? It was Moya. That's what it was. Ruben Moya had Vancouver on their list, on his list, and that didn't end up happening. So I think what we'll do is we will bring back Peanuts McLovin as well, because again, it is kind of a bigger piece to their team, and we'll keep Marcus Trumbull in there at catcher. Now, Leonardo Sosa, Cedric Rich, AJ Ruiz, not very big losses there for the Mighty Beavers. I got LA, Patrick Rausch is coming back, and Elvis Silva is gone. Again, not a big loss for them. Jeremy Floyd, Mr. Five-tool player in gameplay. I mean, this guy is nutsos in gameplay. Mr. Doubles, you could call him. Mr. Hits. I don't know what you want to call him. He's just a really, really good offensive player, and he steals a lot of bags, too. He does everything right. He's Mr. Utility. He can play the outfield, the infield. He's just a dog, right? Jeremy Floyd is a dog. He's good. But he is reaching age 30, so there is some potential there that by the end of this contract at 3 years, he is going to hit some regression. So just something to watch out there for Jeremy Floyd. Then Mackenzie Michael, he's gone, but he had some good seasons there for San Diego. But age 32, did not play last year. That's going to work against him a little bit. He's only got 10 stamina, too, so he's really only good for 1 inning. He's a 1-inning wonder. And just we'll see what kind of team is interested in that through CPU'd auto free agency, right? Now you get Trey Mashburn. We wheel spun for him. He landed on his team that he wanted to go to, the San Francisco Grizzlies. So that is a big addition because now you get Mashburn and Timothy Pierce in the same lineup. That's crazy. So he will DH. Mashburn will probably DH just because of the fielding numbers. And then, of course, Timothy Pierce is a little bit better of a fielder. He'll play first. He'll still man that. But now you've got Pierce, Mashburn, Bonds, Vega, Stoitsiadis, Street. This offense could take the next step this season. Now, one player that I did not mention here, it's in the Discord, by the way. We had some trades going on. Again, like with Richmond had a trade, San Francisco had a trade with St. Louis, by the way. So St. Louis was nervous about losing Tyson Cobb, right? And the fact is that they are. I'm making that decision because they don't have the money in order to afford him anyway. So they went out and actually acquired a first baseman in Robert Hayes. So they met San Francisco and they said, you know what, we need a backup plan for a first baseman. We're going to go out here and acquire Robert Hayes. He's been consistent for you, and he's not really playing anyway, right? He was playing for you quite a bit in the last 2 seasons, but year 3, year 4, not so much. What's up? He's a good player. He's young. We want him. Let's bring him in here. So they did that. They acquired him, and that opened up the door for the Grizzlies to go out and say, hey, Trey, we got an open spot, baby. Come on in. If you guys want more information on the trades and stuff like that, then please head over to the Discord for more deeper looks there. Now, for the good boys, let's check out because I think San Francisco is the last team on the list. Yes. So we're all done with the reveals for exclusive free agents. Now, for the good boys, what they did with their trade is we moved on from Connor Altman. You know, we're pretty set with Brady Dunn in the outfield here with Kingston, Mondesir, Cavedo, Boucher. We're fine in the outfield. I think that we're set. But we did acquire Domingo Mejia. This is a custom player that played out there in the with the Pittsburgh Hammers. He has not played yet. So he was drafted a couple seasons ago. He's one of the top picks, and he has not played. So he's on his up and up. He's on the way up, and he's got some quirks in there too. So I like Domingo Mejia. He's a good fielder. This is kind of my backup plan for when Ricky Holberman does end up retiring, which is going to probably happen next season, right? And he can play all over the middle infield. You've got second and shortstop eligibility. He is a primary third baseman, but in the case that Scott Gonzalez, I don't know, just really isn't cutting it for us. Maybe want to move Scotty to a DH role or something, because his fielding's not that great. His arm is good, but you know, it's not amazing. Plus KAJ, maybe we shift him to the outfield. Maybe that end up actually doing him a little bit better, you know, because the fielding numbers are not, they're okay, they're good, but maybe with that speed at 70, he's more of a right fielder. Maybe we need to shift Ricky Holberman to first base because he's older now, right? He's got 49 speed. How much can he really move at third base? So these are some options that we've considered, and that's kind of why Connor Altman is gone too. KJ could play right field. Ricky Holberman could play first. And then now you got third base is wide open for Domingo Mejia, who needs to play and get better, right? So we've got some options. But yeah, guys, that is it for the exclusive free agent review and kind of that free agency preview. So again, some big names that are leaving their respective teams. I'll show you guys tomorrow for Saturday's video, the finale of the offseason, the finality of it all. I want to show you guys where all these free agents went with CPU free agency turned on. They're going to make all the decisions, and I'll keep you guys up to date with all of what's happening there. So guys, leave a like if you like this thing. I will see you tomorrow for the off-season finale for Season 4. And then the next time I see you will be in a couple weeks as we move through Season 5 as a sim season. Literally no gameplay. Other than the Gold Series, that will be gameplay. But everything else will be simmed up until the actual World Series / Gold Series. So, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Let me know what your thoughts are about how this free agency and this offseason has been working so far. And if you enjoy this, maybe this is what we'll do in the future. You know, if you kind of like the way that this was structured, maybe that's the way we go. You know, we don't spend 2 weeks doing a free agency or an offseason. We just do it all in really easy, 1 week span, get in and get out. Right? Get more seasons done that way. So I'll see you guys in the next one. As always, thank you so much for watching, and peace.